Hi beautiful friends, welcome to today's episode of Mother Knits. Today I am going to be going through all of my dreams and goals for the things I would love to make in 2024. So if that sounds like something you would love to sit down and chat about with me, go ahead and get comfy and stay tuned for today's episode. My name is Katherine and welcome to Mother Knits. This is a channel and a place where I love to sit down and share with you as a young homeschooling mother the things that I am making. I love to curate a handmade home. We bake bread and make our own fermented drinks and kombuchas. Quite a lot here from home. And a big part of that is knitting and making clothes and toys and things that really make our house a home. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you and a journey that you would love to follow along with, please subscribe to this channel so you don't miss anything. Tell me who you are in the comments, where you're tuning in from. I absolutely have loved connecting with all of you and learning about where you're all from, and it's always especially fun to connect with another young mother who is working and making things by hand throughout the day. So today is going to be all about my dreams for 2024, and I think this will be a funny video to tune back to as the year goes on, and even a year from now, where my mind was at as far as what's inspiring me right now, what are the things sort of missing in my wardrobe, in my children's wardrobe, and just things that I think would be really fun to make as well. I'm actually just going to go through the seasons of the upcoming year instead of categories of things. So this winter, I have some pretty big woolly projects that I am working on that I would, of course, love to finish. We are leaving for a little trip to Mexico. We're going to be doing a lot of driving. We live in Arizona, so we'll have a lot of car time and a lot of beach time, and I really see myself bringing a few knitting projects that will be really fun to finish up. So I'm sure the next time I sit down with you, or maybe I'll even bring you along to Mexico and kind of show you the progress on some of those bigger winter items that I'm working on. One of them is the pressed flowers shawl, which I'm so excited to give you an update on. I'm almost done with the repeat chart. Then I'm going to move on to the border chart and hopefully have that done before the I Can Buy Myself Flowers cal is completed. So those are just a few. That's this winter for 2024. I want to finish up those big woolly sweaters, and then I want to start moving in the direction of making some knitted toys. If you've been following along, you know that this spring, we are expecting our third baby. I just transitioned into the third trimester. We don't know if this baby is a boy or a girl. We're going to let that be a surprise. I have a feeling it's a girl. And I want to wait until baby is born before I start knitting too many clothes. I think it would be really sweet to have some booties and like a little hat, just some very small projects done when baby arrives, for some pictures and just some handmade sweetness to wrap baby up in. I think that would be really cute. But as far as full-blown outfits or rompers or leggings or anything like that, I'm gonna hold until after baby is born and knit sizes that are bigger, because living in northern Arizona, there's really not a big need for knitted clothes until the fall and winter. So I want to focus in the spring more so on making toys and accessories and things that my other children can play with baby. I think we'll just get a lot of use and miles out of them right away. I'm also still a very advanced beginner with knitting, is where I would sort of put myself. And I think that taking this journey with knitting toys, I think there's going to be so much learning in that process. Changing colors, just working these, little rounds. I think that it's actually going to really help me progress as becoming like just bumping up to that next level as a maker and a knitter, and sort of getting a bit more competent and a bit quicker with my knitting skills. So I think toys are going to really help with that. So the very first pattern I'm looking into is this doll pattern. You guys know from my video where I went through my top 20 baby and kid knits, I mentioned this designer, Maria Emerivola. And she has a doll pattern that I just purchased, started looking through, and if this baby happens to be a boy, I have a daughter and I can gift her this doll. This pattern is simply called Knitted Doll Toys. And I do love this because you can make so many variations of this same doll. And I think once I get this first doll made, her other patterns like the fox and the bunny and the other animals that I really want to make, I think are going to come together really quickly, because I have a feeling that the patterns are going to be pretty similar. And then of course there's all of the outfits and seasonal accessories that I think as the year goes on, as 2024 goes on, it'll just be nice to be able to choose an outfit pattern, something seasonal and fairly quick to either knit or crochet, and be able to kind of build that doll collection of both the stuffies and their little outfits. And I think just having that all being handmade is going to be something that is just super sweet and special. So I'm really looking forward to getting my mind wrapped around knitting toys and becoming really proficient at that. I've never done that before, and it's something I'm really looking forward to in 2024. The other knitted toy pattern that I've purchased and I just cannot wait to get started, I might start this on the trip to Mexico, is the big Sister Swan. Actually, I have the pattern printed out right behind me. There's a few tools that I still need to go pick up before our trip so I can get started on that. But that piece, I see that as a toy, of course, but I also see it as something that will be a really beautiful just decoration and like decor piece on top of the dresser in baby's room. So I think that that's going to be a really special project to take on. I'm a little bit nervous about it. It's a very, I think it's going to be a little bit more complex for me, but I'm ready for that challenge, and I think it will be a lot of fun. A few other things I'd love to get done this winter is knitting myself an oversized V-neck sweater that I can transition and wear maybe towards the end of pregnancy, but more so after I have baby and want just like an evening sweater to throw on and just wear around the house, something really oversized and cozy, something that I've made in a really cheerful color, like maybe a lavender or just something really soft and feminine. And the pattern I'm thinking about is the home sweater V-neck. I've had this pattern for a while, and it just has the shape and the look of what I'm talking about. I also would love to cast on the Darling cardigan, which I've talked about for a while. The Darling cardigan by Veronica Lindbergh, who also goes by Kutova Kika. I think it would be really fun to have a cardigan going into spring and summer. I do a lot of just cotton dresses and things like that, and I think having a cardigan for the early mornings and evenings to wear or just around the house would be super sweet as well. So those would be 2 cast-ons of things for myself. I would love to get those going. Other project that would be really fun to complete, and I think it'd be really fun to have this done by Valentine's Day, is, sorry about the plastic bag, project bag noise. Here we go. Making some project bags would be a fun sewing project this year as well, is finishing up my pink cardigan. So this was something I talked about in my earliest episodes here on Mother Knits. This was my first knitted garment, and one that has yet to be finished. And part of that is that the sleeves were not done correctly. I didn't really know what I was doing, and you can kind of see that I've created myself, instead of decreases, I've somehow created like a bell sleeve on these. And I did use a bigger set of needles, which at first I didn't think would be a big deal, but I can see now that the sleeves really are just a mess. And there's actually quite a few spots in this sweater that are very, very telling of this was this woman's first knitted sweater, which I'm actually okay with. It looks very homemade. We still need the sleeve on this side. So this sweater would be really fun to finish up. I might even bring this to Mexico and finish it up there. I would really love to redo the ribbing on the bottom. Again, I think the needle size was incorrect that I used, and things just got really wonky with this ribbing as well. So there's some that I'd like to rip back. I'd love to rip the ribbing out along the bottom, redo it, make it longer, take the sleeves out, redo those correctly. I've just learned so much since I've put this project down, and it's a really fun one, and the yarn is really beautiful, and I think it would be a fun Valentine's Day or springtime sweater to wear, over light colored dresses. It's just super bright and a pop of color that I don't usually gravitate towards, and it would just feel good to have this one finished. So those would be some really beautiful winter goals. And then when spring starts to arrive, I have a whole different sort of vision of spring and summer knits that I think would be really fun to focus on. So first, let's talk about this spring. So I'm going to be having a baby in March, so I know I need to be somewhat realistic around the mental bandwidth and capacity that I'm going to be having for taking on these new projects, which is why I'm really excited in the winter to do the toy knitting and the things that are new challenges and have, or maybe a little more fiddly, have a little bit more complexity to them. Then when the spring comes, I would love to focus on socks, just knitting socks, because those are tiny little projects that I can easily kind of carry around with me with baby. And I have no knitted socks, so I would love to really kind of figure out like one sock pattern. I'm not looking to do a lot of lace patterns. I want just that really perfect fingering weight yarn sock pattern that's easy enough to memorize eventually. So if you have any suggestions on like your favorite sock pattern of a sock that really does hold up and is very wearable, that looks really beautiful. I'm really wanting that fingering weight, sock yarn sock. And it sounds like working from the cuff to the toe is sort of the easiest way to get started. But if you have any suggestions for sock patterns for beginner sock knitters, that would be really great, because I think in the spring and summer, that is a place that I would love to make a bunch of socks. So that is definitely in my vision and something that I really would love to have more of in my wardrobe. And if you guys check out my Pinterest board, I have a 2024 me-made Pinterest board. And there's a lot of photos in there where it's like just that look, very casual, like Birkenstocks with really cute socks. And maybe like an estuary skirt and just this very like casual feminine look that I'm really, really drawn to right now. And so I think having some handmade socks to wear with Birkenstocks or just like in, the evenings, I think would be just so comforting and sweet and satisfying to have some little projects going at that time with a newborn. And then that will be the time where I'm sure, after baby's arrived, I'm going to have my whole queue of like different fall and winter outfits for baby that I'm going to want to get started and start knitting on. And I think it's going to be really supportive to have like those small scale projects. Now, in the spring, there are 2 tops that I really, really want to start and make for myself after some of these projects that I've shared with you. One is the Ranunculus. I have the yarn for it. I'm going to be using this Rowan cotton yarn for that. I think that's the yarn I'm going to use. I have so much of it that I might want to actually take that yarn and turn it into like a very breezy summer pullover or cardigan, like a very lightweight cardigan could be kind of cool too. But I definitely want to make the Ranunculus this year. I've even like envisioned, wouldn't it be great to get just the yoke done before baby's here and then set that aside. And then when I'm in my postpartum time, I'm just at that point where it's just stockinette in the round for the rest of the body of that. And then the other top I'm really wanting to make, and I've got the pattern for, and I think I have the yarn for, is the Air Tee. And this is just such a staple and this really classic looking piece that I think I would get so much wear out of. I really, really want those 2 tops for this summer. So I think it would be really fun to get going on those in the spring. I have a feeling the Air Tee is going to be a bit of investment in time, but it doesn't look too complicated. I think it's just going to be, because it's in that fingering weight, I think it's going to take a little bit more time. However, I think that is just the project that I would need for the season that I'm going to be in with a newborn, where it's just picking it up and just putting the time into it. So those 2 tops are very high on my list of things that I really do want to add to my wardrobe and start wearing in the summer. Now, as far as some summer knits go, I know for myself, when the summer arrives, I start thinking about fall. I start, especially with like July and August, I really start fantasizing and wanting that crisp air to be here. And I think that's going to be the perfect time. That's when I get a lot of knitting mojo, strangely enough, is that time of year where I start envisioning all the fall projects that I just want to get started on. And this year I would love, love, love to take on a few really in-depth, more advanced color work sweaters. The one I am most excited about, and the one that I think is the most wearable, the most beautiful sweater that I have on my list, the Easy V sweater by Caitlin Hunter. Caitlin Hunter has my heart when it comes to her designs. Absolutely everything that I have found by her, I want to make it. But this Easy V sweater, which is just super popular, there is almost 1,400 projects of this one on Ravelry. I want to make this exactly as she has it. I want to get the exact colors. I want to make it exactly as it is shown in this project photos, in these project photos. I think this is just absolutely gorgeous. So I think this would be a really fun one to start in the summer, because then of course it's going to be finished by fall. And I just absolutely love the shape of it, and it just feels like something that I would get a lot of wear out of. So this is something that is really, really, this is a top for me. This is a top dream knit for 2024, working on this sweater. There's a few other colorwork sweaters that I've been exploring, and especially after the pressed flowers shawl and even this striped cardigan, I've started to realize how much I love color work. I love working in stripes. It keeps me super engaged. So I'm hoping that this project will be the same. It's something that I just absolutely cannot wait to get started on. And it's a worsted weight project as well. And I think that encourages me quite a bit with this one. So there's lots of other colorwork options that I've collected, but this is absolutely top of my list. Then we're going to be transitioning, of course, into fall. And for me this fall, I have a feeling that I'm going to be at the height of knitting mojo and want to be creating absolutely everything. I have some cable worked, kind of chunkier pieces that I'm really, really interested in making, that are pieces that for where I live are going to be really beautiful knits, but not be so warm. So my goal for this fall, the things that I'm knitting, that I'd love to take you on this journey of as well, is that I'm always looking out for items that I can knit that have weight to them, but do not make me overheat, which is very easy for me to do. And so I've been collecting some patterns of things that allow a lot of airflow, things that drape in a very special way and that have a shape to them that is very feminine and very artistic, but is not the traditional like woolly raglan pullover. So I'm really looking forward to almost finding that balance of a wearable item, but it's almost an accessory or a layering piece, something that's just going to allow me to move throughout my day and be very, very wearable and not let me overheat. And so I'm getting really, really particular, and I'll probably have a whole episode on some of those things that I'm collecting, on things I want to make for the winter months that are very comfortable, are very, very attractive and very artistic, but breathable and very, very cool to wear as well, and allow you not to get too warm. That's really, really important to me. So I have a whole collection of things that are really inspiring me in that direction. I'd love to get into some cable knit vests and different designs that I've found with ties on the side that I think would just be really beautiful knitted pieces to add into my wardrobe. And then who knows what else, what other patterns are going to come out, what other accessories are going to feel like I absolutely need to have. But I have a vision of a very particular kind of look and kind of garment that I just don't overheat in, that we don't get too hot in. And I want to stay really focused on knitting things for the fall and winter that are big time and even like financial investments, but that I'm going to get a ton of wear out of. So it'll be fun to bring you along that journey and show you some of those things that are really top of my list right now as far as things that are going to that I'm going to be diving into that time of year. This fall, this 2024 fall, will also be a time I really see myself getting my sewing machine up and running a lot. We are going to be traveling a lot throughout the summer, and sitting down and sewing is just probably not going to be something that I can sit down and put a ton of time into in a realistic way until fall of 2024. So I already have some patterns lined up, and throughout the year, one of my goals is to start collecting, whether it's thrifting or finding indie shops, fabric shops, where I can start collecting a good amount of fabric for these fall projects. I am absolutely obsessed with the Sew Liberated knitting patterns and have quite a few of them ready, getting them ready to go. The estuary skirt, the different pants that they have, those patterns are really, really calling to me, and I'm hoping by then I'll be enough through my postpartum time that I've got at least an idea of sort of like a new, where I'm going to be landed at with my new sizing in clothing. And I'm just going to be very, very motivated to be making and sewing a ton of clothes in the fall, as well as knitting, layering pieces and things that all coordinate together. So that is something that, throughout the year, building up a really abundant and happy fabric stash, nothing overwhelming, but just things that I can use and choose from for my fall knitting. It's something that it's already on my mind, and collecting, just the right fabric to make some pieces that are going to be with me for many, many years, I hope. Thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me today. If you liked today's video, go ahead and give it a like. Tell me in the comments, what are the things that you are dreaming about in 2024? Where are the places in your wardrobe that you're really wanting to focus on and fill in those places and spaces, whether it's knitting or sewing or crocheting? I would love to hear about what you are dreaming of making yourself in this upcoming year. And I am very, very much looking forward to sitting down and chatting with you guys next week, showing you some of the progress of things I've been working on. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next episode of Mother Knits. Bye.